All right, everybody, welcome to the June 2nd all call. As you're getting comfortable, if you could do us a favor, change your display name to your full name and face, it would be greatly appreciated. Today, we're going to review the mutual respect policy. We'll give you a management meeting update. Then we'll have an update from a few of our MEC chairs, and then Q&A. Today on the call, you have me, Andrew Henderson, your MEC Vice President, Autumn Cohen, your MEC Secretary Treasurer, as well as your local presidents from each of the councils. Jen is on vacation, so you get me today. Hope you enjoy. The mutual respect policy, the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, as opposed to any discrimination based on age, color, disability, gender identity, or gender expression. Unacceptable behavior includes unwelcome physical, verbal, or nonverbal conduct, including the use of electronic devices or electronic communication, and any behavior that ridicules, intimidates, or is physically abusive or disruptive. What we ask of you is that you treat everyone, including all AFA-CWA members, leaders, and activists, as well as AFA-CWA staff members and meeting guests, with respect and dignity. Your MEC officers are Jen Sayla, she's the president. I'm Andrew Henderson, your vice president, and Autumn Cohen Anderson, the secretary treasurer. Again, Jen is on vacation today, so it's just me and Autumn on the call with you. The voting members of the MEC are made up of your local presidents. That's Kathleen O'Brien from Council 71, Newt Ware, Council 79. Ron Bowman, Council 81, Wilmer Wynn, Council 84, Michael Rice, Council 85, Brianna Whalen, Council 86, and Ethan Clark, Council 87. All right. We're going to start with our chairs updates. I think we have some of them on the call with us today. Mary, I saw you.
I'm here.
Everyone, this is Mary Arrett. She is our current MEC grievance chair. Jeremy unfortunately left the position, and so Mary is graciously filling in until the end of this term at the end of the year. So welcome, Mary. How are you today?
Thank you. Good. It's been a busy day.
It has been. As a part of our management meeting updates, we also do a grievance meeting. So Mary's here to give you an update on that.
Okay, so today we always meet the first Monday of each month for the grievance team, and that's to present all of last month's grievances that came in. So anything that was filed by your grievance chairs last month was presented today. So I believe today we had approximately 101 grievances that was filed last month that we presented. We present those to mostly the directors of each department over at Frontier. So it's been doing better. We get a whole range of every department that are there representing, listening to our grievances and giving us feedback. So right away, just by presenting them, we did get 18 sustained, which means that they right away will just tell us that they agree that they did the violation. And we move that on to the remedy list, which is another list that we talk to them about what should be that remedy that they should pay that flight attendant. We had 13 automatically denied, which is meaning that they've already researched it before the meeting and they didn't think either we had enough information or they gave us the information that they say that, we didn't have, where just like take a non-notification. They'll say, no, we called that flight attendant at 16:10. And so we go back and we pull the call and we try to research it that way. And then we did have a lot of follow-up. So the rest are follow-up this month just because of the changeover. We need to get all that information to the company on our proof. So we do have a lot of follow-up, but I did look already and I have two departments already sent everything to us on everything we didn't have. We sent it right after the meeting. And so we have a lot of answers back. So it looks like that list is pretty long from crew scheduling and I think payroll. So we got two of them back. So anyhow, it's new. I have Monica starting out too, which is the Chicago grievance chair. She's also now the assistant, which was what I was the position. So I moved up and now Monica. So it's just a team of two now, and we're both kind of new. So we're just kind of learning as we go. I mean, it's something I've done for a while now, being Jeremy's assistant, but now to be put in his first chair, it's a little different. So as Andrew can tell you, it went pretty well today. I mean, we kept it moving along, presenting, and all the different the grievance chairs all present their own on this meeting. And just to give you a little bit, like the next step would be the screening, and those would be on all the denials, mostly the denials on, so a team would look at that and see, do we need different proof, or, is it just not a violation? So we discussed that, and then on to the settlement talks, and we meet with the company in person every quarter. So every 3 months, we fly out to Denver and meet them, the same people face to face though, and bring all of our evidence and fight for all those grievances. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, or Andrew, do you have questions? Or, I mean, but told a little bit about what we do on a daily basis.
Don't. Thank you for the update. It was a great meeting today, and getting those sustains, we always love to have those right off the bat, so we can stop fighting for them. But thank you for the update. Thank you for all you and your team's hard work. You guys do great work. So thanks. Any questions for Mary? Okay. Thanks again, Mary. Next we
Sure.
have our MEC scheduling chair, Kim Carson on. Kim, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, everybody. So scheduling has been a big challenge, obviously. We have seen a shift in the flying back to some trips, but the trips are not widespread, and the trips that are out there are pretty crappy. So we are continuing to monitor those, continuing to fight for higher productivity in those. One of the biggest problems that we're running into, especially in some of these smaller bases, is just that day of week flying. The day of week flying, meaning, so we all know on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, there's just no flying. There's half to a third of what we normally would fly on other days of the week. So that's just creating some issues with the pairings and with multi-day pairings and the credit associated with those. Because what happens is you fly out and then you can't get back. So you're stuck somewhere for a 36-hour layover, a 23-hour layover, a 28-hour layover, just because there's no more flights. You literally cannot get back to where you're going, to your base or to another city. So we're trying to tackle that. Unfortunately, I don't know, that we're going to see any reprieve in that type of thing. July, it looks a lot like June does, with the exception of that first week of the month where the holiday falls. We're not seeing such a dramatic drop on that Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. But the rest of the month looks pretty much like June looks, pretty similar hours across the board. So, we should be seeing everything that kind of looks the same. We did see more people take COLA and low time. So those high time flyers should be able to potentially get the hours that they are looking for, hopefully. One thing that we are noticing in these bid runs is that day a week flying is causing issues with bidders that are using either max or min days on the schedule build options, because there's just no flying to meet those patterns. So we had lots of people last month that wanted over 100 hours and maybe got 65 or 70 because they're using those options. When we tell everybody those are not the best options to use, especially the way the flying is now. So that's one of the big things that we're trying to get the information out on. I'm working on an E-line for that. I'm also working on an E-line for reserve because we have seen some people that are back on reserve that maybe didn't spend a lot of time the first time around. There's a lot of confusion of how a line bid versus a reserve bid works. They're just mixing the two up, and obviously they're very different bidding. So yeah, just a few kind of that day a week flying, man. It's killing me right now. So if we can just, I don't know, figure out a way to get around that, but I just don't know that they're willing to do that at this point. So my next meeting with them will be in July. We meet every other month, so we met in May, and then we will meet again in July. So that's kind of all I have, unless there's questions.
Kim, bidding is about to open. Who do we email for bidding assistance?
So my suggestion for all questions, all things, go to the AFA website. My section of the website has so much information and I try to keep it updated. There's everything from who to email, when to email, what to look for, how to bid a line, how to bid reserve, how to swap days, how to understand unstacking. I mean, I have worked really hard to get the information out there to everybody so that it is in one location. And that location is the AFA section of the scheduling section on the AFA website. That is where everything can be found, contacts to information. And if there's information that you think you still need and want to see or you hear a lot about, let us know. I'm always putting together more information as we get different questions, different sets of questions. I always try to create something to put up there so that that information is available to everybody and not just the person that's asking. So again, if I see like a lot of people asking the same questions, I'll go in and I'll create these PDFs and PowerPoint presentations so that the information is out there for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate all of your hard work. You and your committee do such a great job. We appreciate it. Looks like we do have one question. Liz?
Hi, Kim. It's Liz in Trenton. How are you?
Good. How are you, Liz?
Well, I wish I could say good, but same conversation we've been having for a couple of years now. The issue seems to be that other bases lay over in Trenton, and we have no trips out of Trenton. And I'm sure crew planning has a reason for that. And I'm sure they think it's good. But again, there is this Trenton base without any flying for the 3 weeks in June. I don't know what July looks like. I haven't seen it yet. But if it's similar,
there's not a whole bunch, but
there was a little bit, basically the same as
a little bit, not a lot. Pretty much looks like June. Trenton's a tough one. We talk about this every month. It's because of where the planes originate from, right? Like if they're not overnight, if the planes aren't overnighting there, it's hard to put crews on there.
But
if as of right now is to, I mean, that's the business model they're working with, and contractually, they have the right to do that, right?
yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm tired of saying it every month too. My other just
I know, but I mean, you know this. I mean, Kim and
I
me
know.
and everyone that goes in there, and you.
I
And
have,
every time
I
we
have to
an
say
audience
it.
we're griping about it, or we're talking about it, and we're keeping a bug in their ear. I can tell you with definite that they know that you all want it. They know that you want Trenton. They know that Fort Lauderdale wants to be represented. They know that Chicago and Midway want to be represented equal. I mean, we hear you. Trust me, we hear you. And Kim advocates better than anybody for the dual bases. So, I mean, I get it.
I do appreciate it.
The
Just
planes
one
originate from, and that's the issue behind Trenton at the moment. It's just where the planes originate from, and because the planes don't start there, they're not going to send a Miami crew one leg into Trenton to overnight them for 36 hours, right? Because we're also, as
but
a
they
committee,
kind of
while
do.
we want flying there, right? But we can't, as a committee, we can't advocate for better trips and then say, but we want you to lay these people over here. Like that, you can't tell a computer system to think like that, right? So we're trying to get the most productive trips possible. That's what we're advocating for, because, and I know it doesn't look like you see them, but this is what they're saying the most productive trips they can muster are at the moment, right? So I get it. I'm saying all of this to say we hear you and we advocate for you all the time. We
I
really do.
appreciate that. One other observation I had, in light of what has been happening in Newark the past 4 to 6, 8 weeks, there's a lot more volume in and out of Trenton, or there's more. Does the company adapt with the changing environment as far as planning? Because they could fill planes out of Trenton because people don't want to fly out of Newark. Just a thought.
They're aware of that. Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm sure I mean, obviously they're keen on the network, or our network versus what they could be doing, you know, but it's all about the bottom line, where if they think they can do that, and there's more problems in Newark than make worth being there, they'll keep the basics there and move it around again. I mean, you've been here long enough to know too, that's they follow the patterns. So if that pattern shifts 100%, we could probably see that. But if that pattern doesn't shift, you know, again, it's one of those things that they could
And
change
from what
their
we've
mind
been
for
told,
August, right? So
I think we've had this conversation in the past before as well. I think what we've been told is that Trenton was a gateway city to Philly. So they're not as focused on operationally like building Trenton to put more flights. I mean, Newark may come into play, but it might. We can't answer that question. I mean, that's market planning, right? But what we know is that they saw Trenton as a gateway to Philly, and their goal is to build Philly. And if they retain some flying out of Trenton, and we see that represented over and over and over again in our monthly bid packets, that's the way they feel about it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
thanks, Liz.
Nikki, do you have a scheduling question?
I do. I know they were saying that like flying and having 36 hours and 28 hours in certain bases, but like for Cleveland, we have a 36, 37 hour flight layover in Las Vegas. And we have a daily flight there, daily, twice a day, actually. So they can't use that as excuse, because some of these bases that we are doing base to base, we have daily flights out of. So what is their excuse for that one?
Well, it just depends on the
don't.
routing of the aircraft. It'll depend on your legalities. It'll depend on when does the next flight leave. Is it a turn? Is it something that goes straight back? If that is going to be legal, are you going to be legal for all of that? So there's a lot that goes into it, just not, and I get it. When you look at it on paper, it should go back, but maybe that aircraft goes on to Vegas, goes on to LA, or goes on to somewhere else. And maybe not every day it's going to do the same thing, because on a Tuesday, that plane might go straight back to Cleveland. On a Wednesday, that plane then goes to Las Vegas, from Vegas to LA to San Francisco, back to Denver. So there's a lot more involved with that without seeing the whole network of what that plane actually is doing and what the legalities of the.
Well, it shouldn't be. I get that, but why is it based on the plane and not based on the crew? If you've got a crew there that can stay there for 10, 11 hours and there's a flight going out, then why would you keep them there for 36 when you have a daily flight twice a day going from Vegas to Cleveland, is what I'm saying.
Is it's based on a multitude of factors. It's the crew, it's the airplane, it's it's the credit, the overall credit of all the trips, like pulling that one flight.
It's 9 hours.
Right, but while it may boost the productivity of that one day, it could reduce the productivity on multiple other days. The program that they use calls the optimizer. They plug all kinds of numbers into to take all of these things into consideration to spit out the most productive things that we can. And so it either doesn't, I mean, like she was saying, there's a million different factors that go into why they wouldn't just make it a turn or a 2-day and would make it a 3-day instead. Because the goal is not to keep you all out there for 3 days. I mean, they've made that clear. Their goal is to get us back to base as quick as possible. They want all of us doing, I mean, they wanted the majority of their flying to be turns.
I get that, but it's not feasible when some of us are driving 2 hours back and forth to base. That's just not feasible or workable. That doesn't work when you've been doing the same model for 7 years. That's just, it's not feasible to do. We don't make enough money to survive that. We're paying to work instead of paying to live.
Right.
We hear that.
We hear you and we understand you, and we've been talking to them about these type of trips and the low productivity.
And I'm not even talking taking a flight to work. We're talking driving to work.
We hear you.
We hear you.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming up in negotiations now because our daily credit isn't large enough for what they're doing, right? So we asked for trips, they gave us trips, and now we have to fix it a different way. Matthew.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you have a scheduling question?
Yeah, just like for the bigger bases, I've noticed Orlando and Denver. Are they still shrinking Orlando? Because it seems like we have less reserves available for the summer flying, especially for June. And then when it comes to 3 or 4 day trips, those are going down as well, but Denver's exploded, which is obviously great for that base. Just wondering what
that
their
cycle
thinking is.
That
Yeah.
cycle has kind of gone back and forth over the last 8 years that I've been in this, on this committee.
Right.
Sometimes Denver's up, sometimes Orlando's up. They are definitely not shrinking Orlando.
Okay.
Orlando did just get some new hires in the last month or so. So there is definitely not a shrinking going on in Orlando, even though the perception might be that, we're lower now than Denver, which
Mhm.
are, so Denver is seeing that sort of increase in those multi-day trips, and they've got all the, they had 2 classes, I think, of new hires. So there's definitely not in us versus them. It just happens to be the way that they are planning the network right now. Orlando, naturally during the summer, we do see a little bit less of those north-south routes. We do tend to pick up those east-west. So it does shift. I know you've been here long enough too, that that's the thing. Like in the winter, we go north-south, and in the summer, we go east-west. And
Right.
there's just not as much as there is in the winter for north-south, right?
Yeah.
It's just the nature of that cyclical. So I think that there's definitely not a shrinking per se going on. It's just a kind of a shifting for the season.
Well, and also regards to the 2 days, how many of those are actually like just the fake 2 days that get in after midnight?
Oh, loads of them. Yep. Yeah, we
Because
monitor those. We try to get those, we bring those flights to them every month. Hey, this one gets back at 11:35 and releases at midnight 05, or it gets in at midnight 02 and could, so we bring those to them every month, and they bring them to the network team to see if there's anything that can be done. The problem is obviously the aircraft utilization. They're wanting to use that aircraft as much as possible, and sometimes it's just not possible. But there have been, I'm going to say, I can't even give you a number, but we have been successful in shifting some of those over the past year so that they would release before the midnight time. But then it just creates a problem in another base where it's chasing your tail with those types of things. So, but we do understand those, and we do hear them, and we do, we bring them to them, and they rework what they can. And again, you've been here long enough to know that it's a shifting thing. Like, so sometimes we get them, and sometimes Denver gets them, and sometimes Clinton gets them. It just, again, it's like whack-a-mole. We move them from one base to another, really.
And have they give you guys any inclination as to what they're planning in the future? Is it just they're just going to keep sending people to Denver when they send new hire classes there? When I guess training is done for right now, right?
Training has been canceled currently through the end of the year. At this point, we have no update from them on that. The last new hire class is online now, or came online, or is doing, Andrew, I was on vacation. I can't keep track. Are they just at IOE?
They're online now. I believe.
Okay,
they've
yeah.
run.
I think we're done with new hires per se. So
just stagnant for right now.
So, for July, they did allow
Base swap?
they did a base vacancy.
Okay.
Just allow for
Yeah.
that movement, even though there were no new hires. So it would be done again based on seniority, but there were no new hires, but they went ahead and did that because there was some shifting around that they were going to be doing. So we may see that again in August. We may just need to wait for that base swap. At this point, I don't know. They don't know. They're claiming they don't know, at least they're not telling me, let's put it that way.
Right.
So, July, that did give me a little bit of hope that maybe in the summer, they do understand that there are people that still want to transfer. There are people that might want to be, and it might be 5 people, it might be 3 people, it might be 1 person, but at least that's better than having to wait for that swap. So we'll have to wait and see what that July or that August looks like, which should be coming out here in the next couple of days.
And
All right.
Tim, correct me
Sounds
if I'm
good.
wrong,
Thank
but I
you.
don't believe the classes have been all Denver. They've
No,
demoed
Chicago got some, Orlando got some,
and got some.
Trenton
I
got
mean,
some.
it's based on need. I mean, I know Denver had the greatest need at the moment, but it's not just been fully Denver.
And then a lot of those Denver's transferred
Got some.
out, Matthew. I don't know if you looked at it was the July one. There were a lot of those that got there initially, they bailed. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, I mean, they may be looking to refill those again. I mean, they, oh yeah, hire me, I'll stay there. And then we all know that doesn't happen. So, I did notice that on the end of that list, like a lot of those 442 numbers, 443s, even those people bailed out of Denver pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, and they also, I guess I just flew with somebody who's on the line now. He said he applied last year. They're literally just waiting for their desired base to get, because they get assigned a base right before training starts.
Yeah, they're given their first choice if they can, and all of them
Yeah,
say that that's their first choice. So then
they're
they
just on a waiting
and then
list.
they leave. So
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So the ones that are like willing to take the chance of being based somewhere, and they're the ones that we hired right now, I feel like. So
All right, thank you.
yeah, of course. Thanks, Matthew.
All right. Any other questions for scheduling or about scheduling? All right. Well, thank you, Kim, for all you do for the flight attendants. You and your committee, you guys do a great job. We appreciate all that you do.
Thanks, Andrew.
MJ, are you still on?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Mike Rice. He's our membership engagement chair. He's gonna give us an update.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for all who's attending. And about a couple of things. Membership engagement, we're here to try to engage with you guys, get you guys out to meetings, to events, get you the information that we need. The Wildcats is under our scope as well. So that's, if you don't know what the Wildcats is, that's our contract action team. So we give them initiatives and things to do to get participation within the membership engagement committee. So if you guys don't know, we did launch an AI app. It's called the Mama J app. So basically, it is an app, so just be mindful. It's there to help you with contract questions specifically. If you go through our grievance site, you can follow the links there. You can put in the question, and she'll do the best she can to answer it within our contract. We do monitor that, and we do have the ability to take over the conversation if that's possible. She's learning every day, so I'm kind of in there every day, all day, just to make sure she's answering correct. If you see something that's not correct and you need any more information, it does tell you at each prompt to reach out to your locals, but definitely reach out to your locals, send an email if you see something.
Sorry?
That wasn't
The
answered,
address.
it was
Is it
just
7373?
Yes.
okay. And so be on the lookout for that. Next is local events. If you are not signed up for your newsletters, sign up for your newsletters locally. I know Trenton Philly had a skating party. I believe Vegas and Vegas or Phoenix is having a pool party. And you want to go out to these events strictly because this is the way to know your officer, engage, and you can ask those offline questions that we particularly cannot discuss on Zoom or things on electronic form because we don't know who's recording. That's, you get your face to face. Things are more effective when you can meet someone face to face. So please make sure that you're going to your local events, your local meetings. Next up, we are in collaboration with the communication committee. We are launching a Frontier mobile app. So it's going to be essentially our AFA app, our AFA website into an app. It's going to have a lot of cool features where you can kind of do peer-to-peer texting and things of that nature. And it's going to be put into your own categories in your base, outside the base. So we're working on that. We're about to start beta testing, so we're gonna get volunteers to start trying it out before we launch it. So be on the lookout for that. And the communications committee and membership engagement is working on that. You guys have seen that we have started a trashy campaign. If you still want to participate in that, please send your pictures and things to info@afafrontier.org, because we need those things. You know, we want to do videos and we want to do things. A lot of people saw the pilot video and they want us to do certain stuff like that. But we do need your all participation in this because we're all flying a line. But if we don't have the material, then we can't make certain videos. Also, a bigger discussion. I haven't talked to the MEC yet, but we are trying to do a revamp for the newsletter. I'm going to get with Toya Communications. A lot of people has been talking about that they don't get newsletters, and I think that the membership engagement, we need to engage with you guys. So I did some research, and I know it's a way that we can kind of like purge the system and put everybody back in, but that's going to take approval from the MEC. So be on the lookout for that, because we are seeing, and a lot of people are saying that they're not getting the newsletters. They've been signed up, and they're just not getting them. So once we figure that out, the communication team definitely will communicate that. This brings me to my last point, overall participation. I just want to put it out there. You know, this committee is about engaging with you all. And to be frank and to be really transparent, we do not get the participation that I believe that we need to be successful into moving in unity. Just like on this call right now, we know everyone cannot participate on all these calls. However, out of the flight attendants we have and the people that's represented on this call, it's 1% of the flight group that's here. And statistically, I start looking into these statistics. When we have votes, when we have events, when we have Zoom calls, on average, only 1% of our membership is showing up. Credit to you all guys now because you all showed up here now. But as a union person, I'm not the union. I'm a union rep working on your behalf. You are the union. So you're showing up. We need you to get 2 or 3 or 4 people to come with you because this is important things. And that needs to be across the board. So if you're here, we want you to grab a friend on the next meeting, say 2 or 3 people, text them, hey, the negotiation meeting is coming up, or hey, the all call is coming up. Hey, we're having a local meeting, we're having a local event, because we're trying to get the information out and we can't move without you guys. Facebook is not a real place because we see a lot of stuff on Facebook, but it doesn't translate into the engagement that we need from you guys to be successful in everything that we do. Just like the trashy campaign, we only got 7 emails. So it's just things like that. So I just want you guys to know we need the participation so we can work for you guys. That's all I have. And if you have any questions, any ideas, you can email me at membership engagement, MEC@afafrontier.org. Thank you.
And while we're in negotiations, remember you can wear red lanyards, red lipstick, red nail polish, red socks. These are ways that you also join in with membership engagement. Red to recurrent, red everywhere. Paint the airplanes red. Thanks, MJ. Thanks for everything you and your committee do. We appreciate all of your all's hard work. I don't see Sherry on the call. It is National Safety Month. She was flying today, so maybe we can get her next month so she can give us an update. But it is National Safety Month. Just reach out to your safety committee if you have any questions. They're always there for you. All right, on to the management update. We did have a management meeting today after our grievance meeting. Some of the topics that we talked about were our new devices. I think last month we told you that we were told sometime in Q4. The new devices are still slated for sometime in Q4 at this moment. That's their goal. There's no hard and fast on this one yet. They're working with a lot. They're trying to make sure that all of the departments are on the same software and that all of our devices will work together. So that's where they're currently at. They haven't selected cases or readers or anything like that, but we do have a commitment from them that will be a part of that. So look out for those in Q4 or an update if it's going to go past Q4. We will keep you all in the loop. The new crew room and a Denver airside stop. For those of you based in Denver, Council 71 asked for an airside stop. Frontier is open to this idea. As we're understanding, the airport is not. It's a safety issue with the way the buses run, but they are open to it and they are continuing to talk with the airport to see what they can do. Because as you know, walking from security down to our gates is a significant walk these days. So they are open to it and they are willing to talk to the airport about it, but at the moment, it doesn't look like that's possible. I know we talked about it in a different all call, but because of how long the computer-based training is taking, the way they've timed it out, it's taking longer than normal. So we filed a grievance and the company agreed to add an extra hour to all of your recurrent trainings. This is going to show up in the retro pay portion of your paycheck is what we're being told now. It won't show up in the initial bid when you are bidding for it or on your schedule, but it's going to show up as retro pay because it was a part of a grievance settlement. So that's where it'll be on your paycheck. The San Juan crew room. We have been told that everything is on order. And that once it all arrives, the crew room should be put together within a few weeks. I know currently there's just cell phones or just telephones and internet in there, but we're being told we're a few weeks away as everything has been ordered and is being shipped out to San Juan. So once it arrives in San Juan, we've been told it won't take more than a few weeks to get it all put together and have the crew room up and running. So be on the lookout for that. The company has a program through our insurance, the Optum prescription program. We've been hearing of flight attendants who've been receiving phone calls from this Optum asking what prescriptions they're on. This is a part of our insurance plan, and Optum is calling people who are on medications or on long-term medications to see if they can optimize how they're getting their prescriptions, whether it be mail-in or are there any rebates or savings or ways that you can get your prescriptions better or cheaper. So if you get reached out to by this company, again, that's through our insurance company. Our insurance provider is outsourcing to Optum, and they're calling to help you figure out how to get the best possible prices on your prescriptions. It's the way I understand it. Autumn, did I miss anything from today? Any
Nope,
thoughts?
that pretty much wrapped it up.
All right. Well, that's our update from the management meeting. The next all call will be July 7th at 6 p.m. If you need a union rep in the meantime, you can use the ticketing system at grievance.afafrontier.org, or you can email any of your local councils. It's your 3-letter base code at afafrontier.org. They're all listed on the screen now. If you want to take a screenshot so you don't forget, take a picture of the screen, always recommended. Any questions or concerns before we go? We've got about 20 minutes left in our time. We're happy to answer a few more questions if you have any. You'll just raise your hand or unmute and introduce yourself. All right, well, seeing no more questions, thanks for spending your evening with us. We appreciate everyone that showed up. And I urge you to take Michael's challenge seriously. Pick 2 friends, text those 2 friends, and tell them to come with you next month. July 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. East Coast time. Text 2 friends and help us get more people onto the all call. But we appreciate everyone that's here. Thank you for spending a part of your evening with us. And we'll see you next month.